Hello and welcome back to our offensive recruiting strategies for college football 26. And yes, it is still me, different hair, same great tips. Today, we finally get into a very often requested, a very widely used playbook and scheme, and that is the spread offense. Your offense with the spread is about stretching horizontally. A lot of the veer and shoot that we talked about will also apply to this. You want to spread horizontally, get as many one-on-one matchups as you can get, and use your athleticism to make sure you can get the ball downfield as quickly as you can. This is an offense that thrives with a high tempo. So stamina means a lot across the board, especially on your offensive line, which we'll get into. But you want to make sure stamina, toughness, injury, all of those are good. That's a good general rule of thumb, because a lot of the time you are going to be pushing the pedal down on the gas in this offense. If you get a matchup you like in this offense, keep that group, that personnel group on the field. Don't let the defense sub out. Push the pedal, really push it down their throat when you get a chance, okay? This is going to be, I'm going to give you a few options at every position for sure, because this is by far one of the most popular schemes in college football 26 in terms of playbooks. As you can see, a ton of teams run this scheme. Now, we're going to be talking about Texas's playbook today specifically. There are a lot of RPOs. There are a lot of counter runs. Most of the runs are zone at this point. And I think that Texas represents one of the better spread playbooks. Some of the other playbooks that I like in the spread, I think Oregon runs a incredibly, especially if you like RPO, we talk about spreading horizontally. Oregon is great at making players, getting them the ball in the space horizontally, and then letting them work their way vertically. Maryland has a great spread playbook in this game. Kent State's playbook is very good. I like Memphis's. Ohio State is underrated. I think Ohio State's a little more running than what I would expect in a spread. Wake Forest actually has a good spread, even though it's missing now the walk offense, one of the offenses that I will talk about in a later video. But again, we're going to start with Texas today. These are all the playbooks over here. Let's get into the positions. Now, when it comes to quarterback, the biggest thing about your quarterback is mobility. Now, that doesn't mean you can't pass the ball, and that doesn't mean you should invest in a pure runner. Pure runners have good throw power, but their accuracies tend to be somewhere in the 60s to 70s to start, even for like the higher rated pure runners. Pure runners I like to keep away specifically just for option offenses. So in priority order, I would say dual threat, especially, and again, the comments come through. We love talking ball in the comments. Dual threat athletes. Especially if you're looking for like a 3-star in the 3 to 4-star area. If you can find a dual threat athlete, they tend to have a little bit higher speed, a little bit higher agility and change of direction for running the ball. Plus, you still get those good abilities to throw the ball, those good abilities for the dual threats. Like, let me bring it up here. You still get the dual threat where like you have extender, which is an incredible ability for quarterbacks. It means you will break a sack more often than not the first time. You still get dot with dual threat, which is really nice. You still get mobile resistance. Now, one of the things I like about backfield creator, and I've talked about this before, is I like sleight of hand. If you find that you are more of a play action person, if you're more of a, hey, my quarterback's gonna run, but he's not gonna run quite as much. He's going to be more play action just out of shotgun. You just like the shotgun feel and getting the ball out to the sides quicker. The backfield creator is for you. Again, when it comes to passing to running offenses, it's passing is your pocket passer, backfield creator, dual threat, pure runner. The further down you go, the more running you do. So again, I think dual threat works with this. I prefer backfield creator for me because I like to pass the ball a little bit more, but I think dual threat is the most widely Swiss Army knife for the spread offenses. Now, one of the things about running back, and this is going to hurt me to say, This is one of the only offenses that I would tell you that I don't think contact seeker or any type of power back does well in. When you are handing the ball off, especially in this game with inside zone, we actually have inside zone up here right with the gun wing stack. You're moving your running back to the side first. The running back, when you hand off at that mesh point behind the line, almost every inside zone here, look at the motion. Look at the motion here. Everything is sideways, okay? Everything is sideways, as opposed to if we were running pistol or if we were running under center, those type of things, where we get like under center runs. Let's see if we can find one real quick. Out of the pistol. See how this is more vertical? Even on zones, you're getting more of a vertical run out of these. When it comes to the spread, I like to focus more on the shotgun. So when we're talking about the shotgun, East-West Playmaker, I still think is the best bang for your buck when it comes to the ability to run. They still get arm bar, they still get 360, they get shifty, which is the best running ability in the game for me. Especially if you don't use turbo. Remember, don't use turbo when you run the ball. Yeah, I think shifty is still one of the best abilities in the game. Plus, they get recoup. They're gonna get your stamina back a lot. With shifty, they get sidestep, 360 armbar, which means all three of your major moves there outside of trucking are gonna do better. So you still get some of that power. I just don't think, I have not seen, unless you can find here. You know what? I'll put it on here. Unless you can find an elusive bruiser. Unless you get an elusive bruiser that has change of direction and speed. I want both of them above 85 to start. You can motivate, you can use a motivator coach if you want. You can have motivator assistant coaches to try to coach them up. This is not a power offense. If you haven't, I've tried this. Believe me, I've tried it. If you have an 80 speed contact seeker that in other offenses just balls forward, and as soon as he hits a guy, he gets another 3 yards, it simply doesn't work in this offense. If you have speed and change of direction so he can move around and pick those gaps better, so be it. I just don't think, I honestly think East-West Playmaker is the best for this. If you wanted to go with a backfield threat or a north-south receiver as kind of like a third down back, especially the north-south receiver, I think north-south, you know what, matter of fact, I'm gonna put this in here purposely for this. The north-south receiver tends to be a little bit more, not as much agility, but like straight speed. And I think their acceleration and speed allows them to hit gaps a little faster. I don't think they're as good at running the ball as East-West Playmakers. But if you wanted somebody like that, I think north-south receiver could be someone you look into. Also, little tip for your tight end or whatever you want to run. I consider an H-back in this offense not really a tight end. I found that north-south receivers tend to make good tight ends if you can get enough size in them. They're going to be small no matter what. I think the biggest north-south receiver I've seen is 6'2". But it's worth it. It's worth it if you can find the right one. That's a very niche case if you're looking. Wide receiver. So wide receiver, I've heard you guys talk about it. I've heard the comments. There's always 3 or 4 guys that are like, hey, if you're gonna run a route artist, why not run the physical route runner, right? The physical route runner gets press pro. He gets sure hands, he gets 50-50, he gets cutter, he gets everything the route artist does. Me personally, I like double dip better and I like layout. 2 things that physical route runners can't get. My route artists are very regularly going across the middle and jumping for the ball. However, those of you that have listened, I have listened to you. Those of you that have spoken, I have listened to you in the comments. I think for this offense, specifically wide receivers on the outside, this is an offense that we're going to recruit separately for outside and inside receiver. Okay, so the X and the Z receivers are going to be the outside. The slot wide receiver is going to be the Y. He's going to be the inside. Physical route runner or contested. Contested is being, I'm going to put a star on contested. Again, as long as you have one receiver on the outside that can take the top off the defense. And you know what? Even for that, I'm going to add this in then. I'm going to add this in just because it's so important in the spread offense. It is incredibly important in the spread offense to have some type of speed on the outside. Doesn't have to be on both sides. Does not have to be on both sides. As long as one of your two outside receivers has something that you can streak at any point during the game, and it will force those safeties to watch them. Any one of these three. I prefer the physical and the contested because I think 50-50 is a very, I'm not going to call it overpowered. I think it's an incredibly strong ability on taller receivers. And if you can send the guy downfield, you can throw back shoulder or you can throw over their head. So speedster over their head, contested back shoulder. And when you get 50-50, I think even level 50-50, so if you're like silver 50-50 versus silver house call, I think 50-50 takes over. I would throw, I'm fearful of house call. Platinum house call or gold house call on a defense is the worst thing you can throw at, period. If my receiver has 50-50 at an equal or higher level, I will throw at it without question. Without question, because I trust that receiver at the least is going to break up that throw. If they don't have 50-50, there are a lot of times animation-wise that I just don't think they get the either right animation or a effective enough animation to be able to go up with that ball. So that's why physical and contested are the first choice. Speedster, if you absolutely have to get something, speedster works. Or if you want to have one contested and one speedster, that's fine. One physical route runner, one contested, as long as one of them has enough speed to take the top off the defense. And I'm talking, depending on your star level for your school, 90 plus speed, and the higher the better. Okay? Specifically for that. Slot wide receiver. Now I get to be like, but Mills, you don't like physical route runners. I don't. Not in the slot. Your slot wide receiver has a very specific archetype. Route artist, elusive. You want them to be able to beat any matchup on a cut. Agility, change of direction. Change of direction actually over agility. Matter of fact, let me put this in here. Change of direction is the number one with route running. Okay? Those two together are what make good breaks away from man coverage and what make good cuts. Your slot receivers are the ones that are going to benefit from those receivers on the outside taking the top off the defense. They're going to get on one-on-one matchups. You're going to be able to move them side to side. And please, I know so many people call plays in this game, and they'll be like, oh yeah, let's throw normal Y off close, and here I'm just going to run plays down the field, PA cross, right? Dude, take this PA crosser and run him over and move him over here before the snap. Like, see if the defense follows him. Know if you're in zone or man. Hell, if you even want, move him over and then move him back. Don't be married to all of the route concepts in this game, especially in this offense. Find the route concepts you like and stick with them. In this one, if you really wanted to, look, this guy's already got a blue here, right? You've already got the flat. You've already got the top off the defense. Bring this guy over and either streak him or give him a little out here. Now you've customized a flood. You've customized yourself a flood. Hey, you don't like this? Flat, over top, throw a curl right here. Now they have 3 areas of the defense they have to watch. Please do not sit with the normal route concepts in this game. Make one hot route, move a guy over, use route concepts that we've been working on, things that you know work. Find things you enjoy. You have a pass play you like, create that pass play out of something else. Do that, like keep those in your mind, especially playing Heisman versus CPU. Those route concepts will do a number for you. And having these elusive route runner or route artists in the slot allow you to do that, allow you to run those little whip routes, allow you to run those little hook routes. They allow you to be creative because you know no matter what they're running, they're going to be able to beat a one-on-one coverage, and the other guys are too worried about your guys 40 yards downfield. So that's why we go with that. Tight end was the toughest for me. Because I do love a pure possession tight end. You guys have shown me the light over the last few weeks of the possession tight end. And for me, I'm actually a big, 'big, 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 And let's be real, vertical threat tight ends are some of the best in the game at catching the ball. They really are. They get downfield great. But I think physical route runner at tight end is really what this offense requires. You need a good mix of the blocking that physical route runners bring, and you need a good mix of the receiving that physical route runners bring. I find that physical route runners tend to be a little bit more athletic than the gritty possession guys. Obviously not as much as the vertical threat guys, and honestly, not as much as the possession guys either. But what I like about the physical route runners is two things. They still have sure hands, which possession does. I really, really, really like cutter on a tight end. And they still normally have the blocking abilities due to strength and other larger capacity of the physical route running. I really like cutter, and then you still have 50-50 if you need it. Again, 50-50 works even on a hook route. You don't have to be downfield. 50-50 is good. It's just one-on-one. And you got a little tight end on a hook route here. Let's say you put this A on a hook route and you throw it up to him, like just hold L1. He'll jump with the guy behind him and come down with it. All right, don't be afraid to use that. I really like the combination of cutter, and the unfortunate part of tight end is the only way you get cutter is with the physical route runner. I think cutter is a very good ability, especially against linebackers, especially when they start bringing safeties into the box. I think that's the move. Offensive tackle. Now, my normal setup is pass pro, agile, raw strength. Well, we're going to start with pass pro. I feel like when you run the ball, tackle is the least important piece. Now, if you run the ball consistently and you want those outside like stretch runs, normally you can get away with a pass pro on either side because you have a tight end that's going to double team block, right? I just don't like, unless you can find another lineman, another offensive tackle that can both pass rush finesse, and pass rush power. Both of these. You need both of these high in this offense, because there are a lot of 5-0 blocking schemes, which means your 5 offensive linemen versus their 5 rushers or their 4 rushers, whatever it is. Your good pass blocking starts on the outside, and you need both of these to be good. I don't even care if it's high strength tackles. I don't need high strength tackles. I don't need high strength any of my offensive linemen. I actually prefer, you've heard me talk about the big 300-pound, the big boys. I actually prefer like 270 to 280 in this. Oh, right, no, 280. I actually prefer a little smaller, because it's such a spread out offense that even your offensive linemen need to get out in space a little quicker. I actually prefer it that way. So pass block power, pass block finesse, if you can find that on another player, so be it. But pass pro offensive tackles tend to grow into some of the best bookends, and that's what we love. So guard center. Now again, my normal setup is I like to go agile guards, raw strength center. Not here. I've seen enough in this spread offense to know that there's always an open check. What I mean by that is, if for some reason one of these interior defensive tackles, for some reason, if one of these defensive tackles gets through with power move, okay, this is your enemy against agile, right? If one of them were to get through, I would say to you, you have enough time to not have to worry about that. You have enough time not to worry about that. And there are 2 major reasons that I really love agile. And here they are. The number one is I love quick drop. Quick drop has slowly become one of my favorite offensive line abilities, and not just on the outside. When you're forming a pocket, one of the biggest detractors for linemen coming through is a guard that doesn't get back quick enough into a pass blocking situation, especially on 5 and 7, especially on 5 and 7 drop throws. So anything where your quarterback goes past 3 steps, for those of you who don't know, every passing play in this game is either a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, or a 7-step drop. And you can figure that out by practicing. There is no way of knowing that. Normally, you can tell like if the primary red route in the play is downfield, it's a 5 or 7. But more of that is just playing the game and over and over, which I know a lot of you know ball, so like a lot of you already know this. But I really like quick drop in those situations. Quick drop, by the way, defined as, okay, maybe we're not going to define it. Improved movement on standard pass plays. And that means even if you get overloaded to one side, they're going to be able to move faster to pick up blocks. They're not going to hold blocks forever. They're not strong. They're not meant to be strong. They're meant to be impedance to you getting the ball out. Okay? The other one is quick step. In Texas, there's a few of them, but in most of your spread concepts, your most effective run are going to be the counter run right here. And that is because you have 5 offensive linemen and maybe a tight end you're using these fast speed zone runs to one side over and over and over. You're going to hit a counter run. We've talked about counter runs before, where it looks like that handoff to the zone, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 pulling linemen going back the other way, and you now have 2 guys out in space, 2 agile linemen. They're going to be out there blocking guys downfield. And they have to be quick, otherwise they don't get to the outside. A lot of times, let me show you real quick on this real quick. Okay, so let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So we're in counter. Let's go with the normal Y. Let's go gun trips tight end, right? And we'll just do a random 4-2-5. So if you've run trips tight end and you keep running zone, inside zone, right? This is kind of like play action, but for the run. What you're doing is you see this guard right here. This guard is going to pull this way, and you're going to go this way. Now, the whole point of this run is not to get outside. The whole point is to A gap, B gap, C gap, pick. Okay? Your goal through this is follow this guy, but as soon as you see an open gap, get forward. Get forward. Your goal is not horizontal. Your goal is to read horizontal, but your end goal is forward as quickly as we possibly can. So when you see this guy pulling over, see that gap right there? Your goal is shoulders square, go forward. This is a fantastic way to take the defense off guard. See, even right there, you got to make sure those guards, and sometimes you'll get the tight end on the counter too, which is even better. But see the guard get out there. Guard's got to get out there or he won't get in the hole. Okay? So again, this is a great way to use inside zone to set up something like this. Obviously, I haven't set up anything in practice mode, so it's a little tough. But to look at different looks, there you go. There's a C gap or a B gap. I'm sorry, a B gap on the out. Oh, that was a tight end. My bad. It's a block, so it was C gap. Yeah, right outside the tight end. Look at those. And look at the guard get out there. That's a left guard getting out there. Like we're talking about a left guard going 5 yards to the outside to get that outside seal for you. Like those matter. And you see the guard is picking the right place too here. The guard is, see how he stops right there? You want to have that agile guard so that way when he picks, he can stop and adjust. I've seen so many people try to run like raw strength run blockers here. And yes, some of that run block power helps with this, but man, the agility just to get a body on a body is so important. So important. So that's why I'm with agile. If you're going up against a defensive lineman that's giving you problems because of power move, double team them. Double team them. Manually double team them over and over and over. Honestly, even with a raw strength center, you're probably going to end up double teaming a lot anyway. If you have a problem with a nose tackle taking you over, double team them right off the bat. It should be better. Now, the trips offense. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. Well, here's your archetypes, just as you want, Will. If you wanted a different setup for the offensive line, I would say, I still like pass pro. I would go guard, agile, and if you want to go power, I would go center. Technically raw strength. I just don't like raw strength anywhere near as much as I used to. As I'm becoming more, as I played with these playbooks, I just noticed that raw strength is always a step behind. But if you really care about that inside push, remember last title update, they actually did a lot with the pass rush. If you're worried about that pass rush in the middle, put your raw strength in there. That'll help you out a little bit, or even have a backup center. There are plenty of schools that in this country that use linemen with very specific reasons to them. Okay, they will sub in linemen for different reasons. No harm, no foul. If you want to have a raw strength backing them up to sub them in against a specific matchup, go for it. Now the offense. Again, what we're talking about, we're just gonna go with let's just go with the normal doubles here. Let's see if we can find a good. Now this is all Texas stuff, the wing stack and all. We're talking about 1 tight end, 3 receivers, right? 1 tight end, 3 receivers, 1 running back. Your entire offense is based off left, right, over top, left, right, okay? Mesh is a huge concept in this offense, but your big thing is one of these guys is over top. Maybe you're running, or maybe you move this guy in here to go over top and you slot him over with a dagger play or a dig, whatever you want to do. Remember though, it's about getting the ball into space. This is veer and shoot without the wide. Veer and shoot without the super wide, right? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, even empty base, trips Y slot, spread Y flex, everything in this is about 3 to 4 wide receivers in space. Tight open, any type of motion you can find. Orbit motion is so good in this game because what you're doing is you're creating matchup problems. When I talk about space, the thing is you have to know who you're going against. Find those defenders that you know, that's my guy. What movie was it? Someone will put it in the comments. What's the movie where the kicker's like looking, going to, who's going to be my B today? Who's going to be my B today? And he sees the guy sweat. It was The Replacements. Who said it first? Me or you? Tell me in the comments. He's like, you're finding the guy that's sweating. You want to find the guy that knows he's not supposed to be on the field with you. And moving guys around does that. As soon as you move a guy, all of a sudden you now know whether it's man or zone, and you can go, okay, now I can go after the guy I want to go after. Let's say the defender follows him across. Now you know A is outmatching his guy. I'm gonna go here. I know why. I know the Y receiver is better at route running than the other guy's coverage. I know if I can block, I know I can go to that corner route. If it's a cover 0, if you know blocks are coming, so if you know blitzes are coming, so that's the big thing with this offense. Motion. Look at it. I mean, you're gonna see motion everywhere. Oregon has a ton of it. Y off trio weak. Motion. Trips tight end. Motion. Tight end open or tight open. Motion. Anytime you see that blue line, motion. Wing trips weak, motion. It's not motion for motion's sake. Even the little cheat RPOs here, where you're putting the extra blocker out with a fake screen, when you play action fake screen, everything is based off motion. RPO read flat. RPO read flat is, again, you're putting an RPO in place to watch this defender, but then this guy all of a sudden breaks out. And if they break down to break this guy, now you're looking at the wheel. The massive The massive thing is you have to know your matchups. You have to know your route runs. You have to know where your speed is on offense. Look at it, another motion, RPO, motion slot, RPO, buck alert. Everything looks the same with the motion. Look at how many different, just here, normal flex close. This is 6 plays, right? All 6 of these plays have the exact same starting motion. You have 3 RPOs, 2 motion plays. One's got built-in play action. One's got a slot a cross screen in it. All for different uses. Hey, motion play action cross. When do I call this? Well, I've called the buck alert bubble and run it a few times, and it's worked. Hey, I've called the same thing, RPO alert bubble and the run alert motion bubble, and the runs have worked a couple times. You know, what does that mean? Okay, well, I was successful with the run. Now I've got my play action. This is a lot of the concepts I know that I've talked about, but like, hey, orbit curls. What happens if a guy follows him? Well, now all of a sudden you know that as soon as this guy hooks, if he's got a better route running capability, you can throw that matter. You can throw hooks in this game pretty much blindly, but you can, now you know this is man coverage. You can throw that hook. Well, what happens if nobody goes with this? Okay, well, now you know it's zone. And you can start dictating like, well, is it cover 2? Because if it's cover 2, guess what? This post is now your look. Is it cover 3? Well, now that it's cover 3, this little piece here, if they don't go into hard flats, this orbit is a great throw. Or even this, because this guy more than likely is going to be coming back here. That's what I'm trying to say, is when you're running spread, your job is finding mismatches, and nothing finds mismatches better than motion. The other part of the spread, and I think you all know this, when I say Oregon or Texas, is the RPO. All right, I'm gonna give you, this is bonus time tips about the RPO. RPO read. Anytime you see the word read, it's 3 options, not 2. What do I mean by 3 options? Well, RPO read bubble, right? RPO read bubble, that's what this is. It says read, there's 3 options, not 2. Your first option is this. You're gonna if neither one of these guys floats this way, you're gonna throw this bubble before the handoff, okay? So we'll see it. They float, I'm gonna hand it off. Now, but Mills, that's 2 options. Here's the third option. Because it's a read, you have 2 options. You have the pass read, which is the P, and the run read, which is your normal read option read, right? You have to know that, because if they go out the cover and this guy comes in, now all of a sudden, this is a run. You can run this ball on an RPO read if that guy comes in. That you see him getting ready to blitz, so we already know one guy out there will be able to throw that at least. Right? Same thing. They float, I hold the ball, they came in on a blitz, nothing you can really do there, it's a dead play. X, they're off, gotta be careful. You see that guy come in at the end there? You see the one guy backed off, but this guy comes in dead straight. You're looking for guys that are coming in. What are you doing? Go this way. Looking for guys that are coming in low on this. Okay, he's gone. Okay, there we go. Bam. Same thing. So your read is this guy going down? And then is this guy crashing in? If the guy doesn't go down and the guy doesn't crash, it's a handoff. If the guy goes down and then the guy goes down, you gotta be careful there, because now they're throwing not your pass read. It's complicated, don't get me wrong. But same thing, he's too close, that's a bad throw. See what I mean? So it's a very quick and things you gotta really teach. Even there, that's still good. Now all you have to do is worry about the one guy. Dead play. They're starting, for those who don't know, practice mode, they start to learn the plays like they do in real games the more you run them. There you go. Even there, I had a whole bit of the right that I should have probably taken. So that's RPO read. 3 reads. Always have 3 reads. RPO peak. Be careful because some of these have read in them. But let's go with the exit RPO peak snag. It's a little different. It's a little different than anything you'll see. So love Texas's RPO game here. By the way, you don't want to play in this camera, right? Some of you, I like playing in this camera. Some of you don't want to play in this camera, but you still want to see the outside, right? So Mills, what do I do? B or circle? Watch this. You can snap the ball from here. So you can look at everything here. If you push B, it just to highlight a guy, it's for motion. You can hit this and then watch and then go with that, right? Remember that. That's a little trick if you want to read the outsides on RPOs. So the big thing about RPO here is what am I going to look at? Well, that's my pass key. If he dives this way, I'm going to run it. If he stays here, I'm going to read this little cross here. And whichever way this guy goes. So what this is if this guy drives down, the wheel is the play. If this guy stays back, this guy will probably stay back, and you want to go for the snag. Let's see if we can get them to do this. See there? See how they go back? A bad throw by me, but see how they go back? Even in man coverage there, as long as they don't drive down, you still want to hit that snag, okay? As long as they don't drive down, because if they drive down, they're going to pick that snag off. But you kind of want them to drive down because then you have that wheel route. I hand it off. You got to be careful. You got to throw it quick. So I'm looking over there. I'm watching the linebacker. Does he drive? No? Okay. Well, then we can run that ball. Does he drive? Does he drive? Does he drive? See that? They stay down, and then all of a sudden you've got inside release. That's what all of this spread offense is about. Sideways, motion, RPO. Okay? That is your goal through all of this. Learn your RPOs. Learn what they do. Learn every single one of them. You have alert here with Omaha. Same thing here. We'll do the same thing. Again, best way to practice it. Go into practice mode and click random defense. Random defense. What am I going to look at here? Same thing. I'm going to look at, does this guy drive down with this guy or does he let him go? That's my read. Gives a little outside. I'm going to throw it. See, he drives down inside. They go outside. I'm going to go, okay, I got to run this. I can run this. And what's really cool about the alerts is if they come down like this, I have an east-west playmaker, which means I can get outside. That's why RPOs work better with east-west playmakers. If you're a contact seeker or an elusive bruiser without a great change of direction, you are essentially, this is your only goal. You really can't go this way. But with an east-west playmaker, you have that room to get a little bit more outside. Okay? Even against a good Oklahoma defense, we didn't lose yardage there. They go back with it. We go back, cut this back, same idea. So that is the spread offense. Leave in the comments if you've got any tips. Again, we love talking ball in the comments. I've learned a ton. I know a lot of viewers have learned a ton from the comments. That's one of the reasons I love you guys. Spread option will be the next one. It's a very unique book. It's got Rice, which I know we've gone over once already, but we'll go over them again. Rice, Liberty, and I believe Central Michigan. Is it Central Michigan? Yeah, it's Central Michigan, which should be fun. A couple fun playbooks in there. So spread option, and then we'll be getting the multiple at the very end because the multiple brings everything in. Plus, I've got a couple bonuses for you. I talked about it earlier. We're going to have the go-go and the walk. Remember the go-go from UNLV last year? It's in the game. We're going to try it out. The walk is also in the game under the Power Spread generic book. We'll try that out. I can consider myself the master of the walk at this point. Leave a like, leave a comment. Until next time, look good, be good, do good things, and I will see all of you glorious creatures a little bit later.